Hi everybody, just a quick screencast to review castling rules. Everybody I'm sure is familiar with castling, but I think you might find a couple of nuances that you may not be aware of. First thing on castling is all the pieces between your king and your rook must have moved somewhere else. So for example, in this case, the bishop and the knight are gone, as if we were castling kingside, and the queen and the bishop and the knight are gone. So in this particular case, we could castle queenside or kingside. The other requirement is the king must have never moved and the rooks must have never moved on their own before this. If they've moved, then you can't castle. And there's one other requirement that people are not aware of, and that is if you're in check, you cannot castle. Also, if you would cross a square that your opponent controls, like for example, this bishop controls this square, you can't castle queenside over that square because it would cause your king to cross over a square controlled by your opponent. Same would be true if white had a rook here, controls this square. That again would also prevent black from castling queenside. Same thing if white had a bishop here, controls this square, you would actually be castling directly into check on the queenside, and obviously that's illegal. So let's talk about castling either kingside or queenside. What's the difference? Well, it's always the same. You always move your king 2 squares and then your rook to the other side of it. And notice I said the king first. And the reason is because in serious touch move games, when you touch your king, it lets your opponent know that you're either moving your king or you're castling. If you touch your rook first, that indicates you're moving your rook, and you are actually then required to move your rook, and you're not allowed to castle. So when you castle, always do it the right way and move your king first. 2 squares this way for kingside castling. Move the rook on the other side. If you're castling queenside, it's still 2 squares. 1, 2 squares, and then move the rook to the other side of the king. Notice that it looks a little different. The king's not back here like it is on this side. On this side, the king is tucked away a little more. Okay? On the queen side, it's not so much. I've seen people castle like this, where they move it 3 squares and try to make it look the same as it does on the king side. That's an illegal move. You only move the king 2 squares and then move the rook. So hopefully that helps everybody understand castling a little more, and I hope that was helpful.